Hi everyone. Today I want to talk about disrespect. How many of you have ever felt disrespected by your adult child? Well, today we're going to talk about that. I'm going to give you some examples of what disrespect can look like if you're wondering if you are being disrespected, but I want you to know that this is a two-way street. And for those of you that are brand new to my channel, I just want to welcome you. My name is Sally Harris, and I'm a mom who walked a difficult road with my own daughter for over 10 years. And while her life spiraled, so did mine. So I just want to welcome you. I'm so glad you're here. And let's talk about disrespect. So I want to read you a definition. I think this is really, really telling. And again, I want to remind you that disrespect can go both ways. Just because we're mom doesn't mean we should disrespect our children either. I think we're all guilty that we've done that at some time or another, right? We're human. So disrespect is a behavior that shows a lack of regard or consideration for someone else's feelings, opinions, or rights. It can take many different forms, such as speaking rudely, ignoring or dismissing someone, disregarding their boundaries, or engaging in actions that are harmful or hurtful to them. Disrespect can be intentional or unintentional, and it can be displayed in various contexts, including personal relationships, and social settings. Overall, disrespect is often seen as a negative behavior that can damage relationships and erode trust and respect between individuals. Well, when it's you, if it's a mom and your adult son or daughter, right? Those two individuals, when you start to erode trust and respect, when we start losing those things, it can really change the dynamics of your relationship and your family overall, right? And a lot of you I know are dealing with that. I hear about this a lot. A lot of moms, in fact, that's one of the main things that I hear when I ask people how they're feeling. They say disrespected. And that's why I want to acknowledge this, because it's very real. And again, it can be intentional or unintentional. And I'm sure we've all experienced both. But at the end of the day, I want to talk about some examples of disrespect and what it looks like. And so you know if you're kind of dealing with this. There's verbal, right? Speaking disrespectfully. This can include their tone, their body language, raising their voice, swearing at you when talking to you. Whether some of you may have been dealing with that since they were a teenager. Some of you are dealing with it now as they're adults. Sometimes the second one is ignoring their parents. So sometimes our kids will ignore us because that is a form of disrespect, where a lot of times we feel like we deserve respect because we're mom. And I don't disagree with that, right? I do believe that there's a level of respect for your parents. I know that I personally had for my parents. My parents weren't perfect by any stretch, but they did the best they could, even with all their flaws, right? And sometimes when our kids ignore us, they're doing it out of, self-preservation for themselves, or they think at the time. And sometimes it's just to be disrespectful and to hurt you. Again, could go both ways. And whether they're ignoring your messages, not texting you back, or not having any meaningful conversation. Now, if you're already estranged from your son or daughter, this takes on a whole nother level, right? This is, a lot of the moms that I work with who are fully estranged from their kids at the moment, because I always believe there's hope for reconciliation, always. And those that are currently in that state, a lot of times they forget, that there is that hope. And so you're kind of at a different place than where if you're just kind of figuring out if you're being disrespected and this or that. And sometimes you don't know why this is even happening, and that's even harder, right? So, also another one is our opinions, right? We should be able to have an opinion about something, as should they. And the thing is, when it comes to disrespect, a lot of times people think that we have to agree. And in the world that we live in right now, we are not going to agree on everything. And that is okay. Like, your adult child is their own person. Yes, they came from you. Yes, you raised them or you adopted them, but you raised them for the most part. And you did the best job you could, and you were the main influence over them for a long time. But you were not the only influence. And I remind people of that all the time. And it feels like it's an aha moment every time I say it for people, because we forget. We put all the shame and guilt and all of these things on us, when in reality, these are not our choices. how someone speaks to us is their decision, is their choice. It's their own struggle if they can't communicate with someone, or it's their own struggle if they're, causing discord in the family because of disrespect. At the end of the day, I want you to remember something, that just because your child is super disrespectful to you right now doesn't mean they don't love you. That was a hard one for me to reconcile back then when I was going through this, because my daughter at times was extremely disrespectful, and it hurt. It hurt really bad. And to think that, oh, she still loves me, I really thought she hated me, to be honest, because how can you talk to somebody like that when you love them, right? It didn't make any sense to me, but I want you to know that there are times in our children's life, and maybe even our own life, and others that we love, that we go through things, that we go through internal struggles, and we either don't know how to ask for help, we're afraid to ask for help, we just want to, silo our own life and just kind of seclude ourselves from our family because either we think they think they're too far gone, or they think that we don't care or we won't understand, or your mom and there's no way you're going to get it because you didn't grow up that way, or you didn't have this happen to you, or all of these things. You can just fill in the blank. There's a million things it could be. But at the end of the day, I'm not saying that disrespect is okay, because it's not. There should be a course of respect because you are their parent. But at the end of the day, we need to be respectful to them too and try to hear them. It all goes back to communication and having safe boundaries. Maybe for a while they put up some boundaries around you, and I know a lot of moms that I work with don't like that. But at the end of the day, sometimes that's needed, because I look at it as a blessing if that's what happens, because you know why? That gives you time to focus on you, because sometimes that's what you need. That space can be a blessing for both of you. Now, sometimes it's longer than we want it to be. Sometimes we're in control of that time frame. Maybe we're the one that's putting the boundary up, right? So it just depends on the situation. But if you're interested in hearing, more about how I could help you, and we've never talked before, and you are interested in a discovery call, you can click the link below. And that's an opportunity for us to dive in deeper, just so I can hear a little bit more about what's going on with you and your child. But really, I want to hear about how this is affecting you, because this is if you're ready to change, if you're ready to do the work, right? We all have things we need to work on, and that's not putting any shame on you whatsoever. It's actually courage. It's actually courage to admit that we need to work on certain things, right? It might be from your childhood. It might be just what, the environment that you grew up in, or the things in this world that have shaped you, right? And those same things or different things have shaped our kids too. And so I just hope this blesses you today, and I'll see you next time.